Hi, everyone. So, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about this article in MJ Biz Daily that dropped on April 1st, 2022, and was updated again on April 6th of 2022. So, it's the US House passes landmark federal marijuana legislation bill again. Again, because a similar bill went through the House and it wasn't successful. For some reason, these bills tend to pass the House, and by the time it gets to the Senate, it seems to stall out. All right, so let's see what happened here. All right, so it says that the U.S. House of Representatives, for the second time in history, so this is the second time, passed a sweeping bill on Friday that would end the federal government's prohibition on marijuana, but the Senate looms as a big hurdle to passage of the legalization measure. So for some reason, it always fails in the Senate. All right, so it says the lower chamber voted 220 to 204 to pass the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and its Expungement Act, which is also known as MORE, which would remove the plants from the Federal Controlled Substance Act and open the industry to additional multi-billion-dollar business opportunities and access to traditional banking services. All right, so it says that the MORE Act will decriminalize marijuana, but also reinvest in the communities harmed by the war on drugs and provide for expungement of certain cannabis convictions. Now, if this happens, it will be wonderful. Not holding my breath. If I had to take a wild guess, I would say it probably is going to stall once again in the Senate, but you never know, it might pass. If it passes, that would be a great thing. So what are some of the things or some of the advantages that cannabis businesses will experience if this bill passes? Okay, number one, because it will be taken off of the Schedule 1 list, that means it is no longer an illegal substance, which means that it's going to be treated like a normal business, just like most businesses in the United States. Think about when CBD and hemp were illegal, but now that they are off of Schedule 1, they are treated like any other business. They are no longer subject to 280E, and they can bank with most banks. Now, even though CBD and hemp are now legal on the federal level, there are still some banks that will not bank CBD and hemp businesses. And the reason why I think that is because of that fine line between, okay, what is the THC count in this particular product? Is it really below the legal level or is it not? And sometimes these banks don't want to take chances. So they just say, okay, because of this gray line, we'd rather just not deal with CBD or hemp businesses. So CBD and hemp businesses do still have a hard time finding banking. However, I do believe that once cannabis is removed from the Schedule 1 list, that it would open up a whole new world for banking, because now you're not worrying about whether or not a particular product has that THC level that might be more than what it's supposed to be. So those are my thoughts. And in addition to, in addition to banking, or rather, one of the advantages of allowing these businesses to bank just like any other business is that you're now going to start to eliminate the possibility of these companies being held up. I mean, there have been several stories out here where dispensary businesses are being held up because all these robbers know that these businesses handle cash. They know that they operate in mostly cash because they are not allowed to bank with regular banks. So this is dangerous for the people that work there. It's completely unfair to the people who build these businesses and who are busting their behinds to work hard to build something for themselves, just to have somebody come in and take it from them because they can, right? So hopefully when banking does become legal for cannabis businesses, we will see less of these rash robberies. Now, even if the federal government does not legalize marijuana, they still have the ability to create some sort of to pass a banking law that will allow banks to work with cannabis touching businesses. So that's another thing we're looking for. So in addition to looking for the legalization of marijuana, we're also looking for the Banking Act to, at the very least, allow these businesses to bank with, federal banks. Another advantage, or I should say, one disadvantage, I won't say this is a disadvantage, but think about it. Once marijuana or cannabis becomes legal, right? What do you think is going to happen? Here's what I envision. I envision that you're going to have these larger businesses, larger companies come in and try to swallow up the smaller businesses. Everyone is going to want to be a part of the game. And at this point, you have your mom and pop shops that are making it, they're surviving, maybe barely. Once it becomes legal, you're going to have these larger businesses come in and either try to buy out the mom and pop shops, or they're going to compete with them in such a way that they just wipe out the mom and pop shops. Try to say that twice. But anyway, so it's not going to be all fairy tales and roses. Once cannabis is legalized, you're going to have your advantages and you're going to have your disadvantages. But I think as time goes on, the market is going to level out and it's just going to be what it is. Okay, so back to the article. It says that the vote was along party lines with only 3 Republicans supporting the measure. Let's see. So it says, with voter support for legal cannabis at an all-time high, and more states moving away from prohibition, we commend the House for once again taking the step to modernize our federal marijuana policies. Aaron Smith, CEO of the Washington, D.C.-based National Cannabis Industry Association, said in a statement. He said, now is the time for the Senate to act on sensible reform legislation so that we can finally end the failure of prohibition and foster a well-regulated marketplace for cannabis. Okay, so that's what we have. All right, so I'm definitely going to keep my eye out for this to see what happens when this goes through the Senate, to see whether or not the Senate is going to shoot it down once again, or if it's going to pass. Hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully it passes. Regardless of what the disadvantages will be, I think that the advantages of legalizing cannabis is definitely going to outweigh the disadvantages. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks again. And hopefully you enjoyed this content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you would like to have a consultation with me, feel free to go into the description, click on the link and set up a consultation. Thanks again. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.